Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm recording this just a little bit before 2 a.m. where I live. And I'm telling y'all, man, it is comfortable out here. It's not hot, but it's comfortably warm. But that's just it. It's supposed to be cool at night. Nope, not no more. So anyway, I'm going to tell you all about. Well, first, let me give shouts out again. S. Jock, J. Whitlock, and D. Smith for coming through on Cash App and buy me a coffee. And Senor Conga for that compliment that he paid to my pronunciation of something in Kimbundu. What he said was, to me, you sound authentically African, and this proves that you can take the African out of Africa, but you cannot take Africa out of the African. Senor Conga, you're absolutely right. You cannot take Africa out of the African. And I am an African. It is not up to me. I'm not even bragging about it per se. I am actually expressing gratitude to Allah for making me an African. I couldn't change it, so I can't take credit for it. It is a gift, and I thank Allah for it. And I marvel at those who wish they were less so. I was having a discussion actually with a black Saudi brother earlier after hanging out with his brothers and cousins and uncles and nephews. There was a farewell party for his actual brother, blood brother, that got a promotion, I should say, to a position that is in Medina, and so he's going to be leaving to move to Medina. There was this farewell party for them. And he introduced me to them because he was introducing me, in a nutshell, to long-lost relatives. And I said to them in Hausa, even though all of them don't have the last name Hausawi, I still said to them in Hausa, I'm glad to meet y'all. And they don't speak it, so they actually had to admit that I had learned some bits of their language while they had grown up with the opportunity and they had not learned it. And they even said that their parents didn't teach it to them. They said this. The parents didn't teach it to them because they wanted to make sure that they grew up speaking proper Arabic as citizens of Saudi Arabia. And I marveled at this because the fact is that if you teach a kid two languages, they just learn both languages correctly. There was this notion when the real truth is that learning another language did not hinder your ability to learn Arabic correctly. It did not from childhood. That what it was is simply that these non-black Arabs are simply they're just going to assume because they have a problem with listening through their eyes and not through their ears. That's the issue that they have. It is a problem with them. I know because I've gone to some of them before and I've spoken to them in Arabic, Fusha, and they look at me and they blink excessively and they say, I don't know English. And I didn't say anything to them in English. Some of you have seen the video that I shared where a Japanese waitress cannot get it through her thick head that these non-Japanese looking but Japanese speaking people are speaking Japanese to her. She keeps looking at the one lady with the epicanthal folds, asking her to translate. And the lady's like, I'm from California. I don't speak Japanese. And so they have to keep saying to her, could you please get it through your thick skull? We're speaking to you in Japanese. They finally just have to give up in order to order anything and tell the one lady from amongst them as guest with the epicanthal folds in her eyes what to say in Japanese so that the Japanese waitress can understand that it's actually Japanese when it comes from someone that looks more like her. Because as long as they're speaking Japanese, but they look the way they do, she'll never realize it's Japanese. Well, that's how the Bedou can be. And it's how even non-Bedouin, non-black Arabs can be. I mean, to be honest with you, there's quite a few phenomena which I've noticed. I have asked them a particular type of question that is not a yes or no question, and I've had them say yes. What the hell, man? That wasn't a yes or no question. Like sometimes I might say something like, well, how do you save time? Or like, how do you get between these two cities in just 2 hours? Yes. Nigga, I didn't ask you a yes or no question. What are you, stupid? Ask them in Arabic? Ask them in English? Yes. Dummy. You know, that's how they can be here. So I had to say to him, well, look, as a teacher, I can tell you that your parents' fear was not justifiable. They were afraid of the stupid comments of a stupid group of people. We are not them. So in any case, I was introduced to them as a relative, a long lost relative. And, you know, if y'all want, then I'll go more in depth about that and on Buy Me a Coffee. But I do want to state this, though. Quite a few of these brothers are having trouble with their wives. Funny thing is, it's with the ones that married non-black women who come from backgrounds that don't tend to look at us as equals. They're the ones that are having the most. One is married to a non-black Gulf Arab woman. Her origins are Yemeni, but she's not like a Yemeni woman because her family's been in the Gulf for long enough to have citizenship in one of the other Gulf countries. With that being said, she was good for 15 years and then started acting up. Another one married a woman of Indian origin. She began to act a fool. He married a woman from Morocco immediately. He wasted no time. He gave her, maybe he gave her one warning. Maybe he didn't even give her one warning. She changed the way she acted. He brought a wife in from Morocco. Now she has a choice to make. She can either act right or she can easily get left. And that'll send a message to his kids. If you treat your husband like this, you lose your husband. One thing that these guys don't do generally is sit there and just suffer silently if they can help it. And I had to tell another man who said that his wife was being good to the kids, but that she would also use the kids against him if she could. Or she was rather taking advantage of the fact that he's attached to the kids to treat him like she's treating him. And I said to him, then the best thing to do is to be willing to discuss with her whatever the hell it is, to be willing to talk it out with her as long as she's willing to, but to not be willing to tolerate that, you replace her ass. If she won't talk it out, you replace her. If she'll talk it out, but she won't actually change, you replace her. Because then that sends a message to your sons and your daughters. You treat a husband like this when he treats you well and he's trying to be responsible, you lose that husband. I had to do that with my daughter's mother. It wasn't because I hated her. It's because I didn't want them to get the impression that you can treat husbands like this, demanding that they do their part, and you just decide not to do your part because you don't want to, and then you keep the husband. I don't think that's going to be the case. And I'm glad that I refused to do that, because this was before I found out about the black manosphere. But now you are making sure that the message is out. Don't let them hold you to your end of the bargain while they refuse theirs, and you stay with them. Make them lose you. Because they don't know what they have until the well runs dry. So dry that well up. They think they're going to put that on you. You put it on them. Oh, you going to not do X, Y, and Z? Fine. Not only am I not going to check that strange noise downstairs, pay these bills, fix a goddamn thing, I'm not even going to be there. You got it. Good luck to you. That's how you do it. Because even if the kids don't get to see the parents together anymore, understand this, it does send them a message. Whether the mom loves them or not, it sends them a message. You treat the man like this and you will lose him. And that's what the F it should be. because they are already learning that if a man mistreats their mama, that man should lose that mama, even if it's their daddy. They already got that message. They're getting it through TV. They're getting it from women. They're getting it from other men. They're getting it from simps who are saying what should be the right thing, but for the wrong reason. Who's telling them the reverse? So I had to make that decision, that executive, unpleasant decision. That's what I had to do. I didn't have an option. And I had to tell this man, be willing to talk with her. And if she will abide by a new agreement, so long as you abide by yours, then you can stay with her. And if she won't, you replace her. And the kids see you with somebody else, fine. They should know if they're going to ask the question and insist on an answer, then they should know their mother had a choice. She was the one that screwed that up, not you. These are conversations I had to have with them. Some of them, as they confided in me. And these are new kin folks I just met. See, while I'm telling you that Islam is a solution for us, and it is, that should probably be the talk of another recording. I am going to state this. And by the way, regarding that, I noticed that when I speak and upload specifically regarding Islam, all of a sudden the views go down. I noticed that. What that says to me is that most of you simply want to continue believing that Islam is some anti-black religion for the Arabs, so that you can use that to say that you will exercise none of the self-discipline required therein. Newsflash, the same self-discipline is required in other faiths. And also, it's not just for the Arabs. And all these brothers that I met were proof of that, because they don't all have the same family name. They don't all come from the exact same origins back home, but they all come from African origins that are Muslim, that have been intermarrying for a long time. They didn't just get to the peninsula and start marrying each other. It wasn't like that, no. A lot of them were intermarrying back home in the continent. They came, settled in the peninsula, mostly in the Hijaz, and they're still intermarried. And they still are. So you can see somebody whose last name is Barnawi, but that means that the Hausawi are his cousins. You can see a Takruni, but the Barnawi and the Hausa are his cousins. And the Falata and the Hausa are already intermarrying back home in West Africa and over here as well. So it's just common. I mean, you see people with one last name that's unique to black folks here, and they have cousins that have another last name that's unique to black folk. The black families here intermarry with each other, even more so than the non-black families do. Y'all may not have realized that. But getting back to the topic at hand, I have stated what is a solution for us. But when they have married women from backgrounds that they may not realize don't look at us as equals, they run into these troubles. Because they don't have they don't have as thorough of a study as we do of which backgrounds are friendliest to us and which ones are not. See, if they had married women from the Philippines that are Muslim and they are here, they would not have had this issue. If they had married Indonesians, they would not have had this issue in as large numbers, and some of them have. If they had married women from Bangladesh, they would not have had this issue. But when they've married these women from other Gulf countries that aren't black, or from India that aren't black, don't look at us as equals, that's what the hell happens. Or they maybe marry some Balochi woman, not black. This is what the hell happens. Because these are people who may lose their culture over time after being naturalized as citizens of one of these Gulf nations. But that's not one of the things they easily lose. The tendency to look down on black folk is not as easily lost, and that's a problem, but let that be a lesson. You can look in the Caribbean, and you can find that while there are Indians who intermarry with black folks and produce blendians in the Caribbean, it does exist. You will also find that there are Indians in the Caribbean that still have these anti-black attitudes, and you'll be like, where the hell did you get that from? I mean, you've been living in this black majority nation for generations, and you still have the audacity to call us certain words? If we had been able to trade more information earlier and made this common knowledge, some of these guys' marriages could have been easier. But there's hope for the future generation because, now, inshallah, there will be new doors, not just me, but new doors of communication open between us and us. Us over there where you are and us over here. And we'll be able to compare notes. But there's one thing that's going to make it effective or ineffective. One thing that's going to really decide that. Will we have a capacity to listen? We'll be ready to teach, and we should be, but will we be ready to listen when the information is new and coming from them? I hope that we will be, because we have the capacity to learn, but not always to listen. And in that regard, that is where we are more like the Bedouin than we are like the black Gulf Arabs out here. That's where we differ. We have this knowledge, but when it comes to learning something new, oh man, that means we got to listen and fuck the shuck up and let somebody else tell us stuff, and we don't do very well with it. We pretty much suck at that. We'll sit up and listen to somebody on TV spew nonsense. But when somebody's giving us new information and it's good information, and they don't mean any harm, but we didn't know that before, we stop. Really? I mean, really, dude? Then we get all skeptical. I mean, some of you are skeptical of what I'm telling you. So I want us to be in a position in which we can actually not only teach, because we love to do it, but also learn. There's that possibility. Because in all honesty, for me to share information that might help these gentlemen out, I had to fuck the shuck up first and listen. Then answer. Had to double think about what they were saying to make sure I wasn't about to answer something I thought they were going to say and they weren't saying in the first place. And then answer so that I could answer in a way that was beneficial to them. We can do it if we think about it, but we have to actually think about it because we've not been trained and socialized to do this with each other. We still have elements of the inferiority complex in us. And some of us are going to get over here and we're going to take in our American notions of the world and the color hierarchy of the world and think that there are no exceptions anywhere, and then have our brains explode inside our heads and leak out of our ears when we see not one black Saudi begging anybody for anything, but seeing Indians and Yemenis begging even from us. And they'll do that. I want y'all to be leery of that. I hope that what I've said benefits. Thank you for listening as always. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum and black, heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. And black, patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.